Hello, welcome back to Mick. Yes, it's me, I'm alive. Did you miss me? No? Why? I'll save the ramblings for what I've been up to in the end of the video. For now, let's get on to what you're actually here for. Some good old stories on the internet. Here's today's bundle. Enjoy your perusal as you may. Remember to like and subscribe, blah blah blah. And with that said, let's get on to the video. First story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to use my husband's high-quality mic setup for YouTube videos? My husband has a $400 XLR plus USB audio interface mic set up on his computer. Okay, that literally sounds like my microphone. We have different rooms. I had an idea for a YouTube video and wanted to move his mic setup to my room to record voiceover audio for it instead of my $15 noisy mic. He uses his mic daily, but for Zoom work meeting calls where he's not expected to have good mic quality. He says he wants to keep the mic there so that when he has inspiration to record a song, he won't get uninspired by having to reset up his mic. But the last time he recorded a song was 2 months ago, or longer according to him. So I thought it was reasonable to ask to use his mic setup for my current YouTube videos idea, since it seems he rarely uses it for a high quality purpose. But it resulted in a heated argument for some reason where I came out as villainous. So am I the a-hole for, I guess, potentially ruining my husband's rare spontaneous motivation to record music by wanting to have his mic set up in my room to record YouTube voiceovers? Last edit that probably no one will see. I think part of what confuses me so much is that I would no question lend it to him for his ideas if the situation was reversed. So I don't know if I have unusually liberal views about sharing items between spouses or what. It's honestly weird to have always assumed a spouse would have a similar mindset and then to realize that you mistook their worldview when it comes up. Oh yeah, that last edit made you sound very entitled. Which is a shame because I was kind of rooting for you at first. So what are your thoughts of the story so far? Let's look at some comments to see what they think. You're the a-hole. It's his. And he hasn't been inspired in months doesn't give you free rein to take what isn't yours. Well, first off, you don't get to ridicule and disrespect your husband's hobbies to justify your own. That alone automatically makes you an a-hole. You don't get to hijack $400 equipment for a YouTube video when it doesn't belong to you, especially if you want it for weeks at a time. What the frick? Go buy yourself something better than a $15 mic if you're so worried about your sound quality. Woo! What the flippity floop, not the a-hole. You're not keeping the mic. You're literally asked to borrow it for a bit. Seems like your husband didn't learn to share when he was a kid. So despite the valid arguments that she's being rather assumptuous that she's entitled to his stuff, I'm gonna say not the a-hole. I mean, look, yeah, okay, again, she was being rather assumptuous that she could just take what she wanted, but she didn't exactly take it. She merely asked, and any essence of her attempting to steal it without his permission was really just through verbal conversation, of which again, she was getting his approval first at least. Now the way she treated his hobbies and interests as less important than hers, yeah, okay, yeah, that is an a-hole behavior. But no, my hands are definitely on the Natar side of things. What's your vote though? You think I'm completely wrong? Let me know. For now, let's get on to the next story. Am I the a-hole for being a bad influence on my younger sister? I really do feel like the a-hole here, but it's such a convoluted situation that I'm in need of outside judgment. You know, they say that at first, but they always end up just disagreeing with everything everyone's saying about them. Let's see if she's any different. So I, 20-year-old female, am home from college for winter break, and it's been super fun for the most part. My parents are quite laid back, so I have 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night with them, and drinking makes it easier to be away from friends for the 2-month break. I only drink maybe once a week at school because I have so much going on. So while I admit alcohol is a coping mechanism for me, it doesn't make me unhappy. Okay, that doesn't excuse it from being bad for you. Like you understand when you're relying on alcohol as a coping mechanism, the alcohol is a bad thing for you to be having right now. The main worries my mum has are that I, A, might be doing damage to my brain because I'm already on a high dosage of antidepressants. Yes! And B, I'm being a terrible influence on my younger sister, Amy, who's a 16-year-old female. She doesn't drink at all, neither did I at her age, and I have no interest in persuading her to start. Anyways, my mum and I got in our first real fight in nearly a year when she snuck into my room while I was distracted, hanging out with Amy, and saw me vaping. She made Amy leave the room and raised her voice at me for trying to be cool to impress Amy. She didn't allow my sister back into my room for the rest of the night as a kind of punishment, which hurt more than anything, as Amy is who I consider to be my best friend. Now, I hope my mom's anger with me stems from a place of worry for my well-being, but part of me thinks it's because she wants to shelter Amy from becoming a woman like me. I know my coping mechanisms are textbook addiction, and I know I don't want Amy to start doing what I'm doing 4 years earlier than she should. But my sister is a good kid, and she doesn't want to try any of this anyways. Well, yeah, of course. Not in high school. This may seem trivial, and I'm sorry for writing this out so poorly, but I'm in agony over whether I owe my mum an apology for actions she also participates in. Am I the a-hole? People's thoughts? You're the a-hole for vaping. Your mum may not care about wine drinking, but she cares that you are smoking and vaping, and that is a whole lot easier for younger kids to get versus the wine. No, not the a-hole. You're not getting wasted and messy, and vaping, even with nicotine, isn't going to harm her unless you are literally breathing it in your sister's face. You're an adult. It's your body, so long as you aren't giving her alcohol or a hit. Ooh, soft guitar, but I think you can also turn this into a teaching moment for your sister. And although you love her greatly, she shouldn't make the same poor choices that you do, smoking and wine. And that doing those things so young can damage her body and brain. And it would also be a great way for her to learn about addictions. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, but as great as it is that you are aware this drinking is a problem for you with your antidepressants and the fact you use it as a coping mechanism, you are trying to excuse yourself, but all you're doing is explaining yourself. It doesn't validate you to keep doing those things, especially when you have an influential teenager around. Like if your mother was equally using it as a coping mechanism and it was very clear and obvious that whenever she's stressed she goes to the wine, then yeah, she's equally to blame in this scenario. And considering your little sister's like your best friend, I wouldn't be surprised if you've confided in her how you use alcohol to find better times for yourself. Look, I don't want to shame you for, communicating like that. But your mother is right. Even if you're not intentionally trying to influence her to take up drugs like this, your behavior before taking the drugs and after taking the drugs will always be subtly noted by young influential minds. And I guarantee the moment that your little sister's in college, she too is gonna get into those stressful moments of just crunch time with assignments and look back into what you did to find comfort. Her bigger sister, who she's so inspired by. I'm sorry, but you are the a-hole. Now, of course, I know I'm being rather controversial with that opinion, so straightforward like that, but I know I personally need to stop standing on the fence so much, so leave a like if you think I'm in the right, and look, if you think I'm wrong, leave a comment and tell me I'm an idiot. But at least explain why, so I could understand your feedback. And then like the video as well. Okay, next story. Am I the a-hole for having a go at my uni housemate for brushing her teeth in the kitchen sink? So last week, I caught one of my uni housemates brushing their teeth in the kitchen sink. Upon confronting them about it, their response was, "Why? What's wrong with that? The bathroom was occupied, so I used the kitchen instead. I've been doing it ever since we moved here in September." Okay, if someone is upset by what you are doing, the last thing you should say is that you've been doing it for ages. Personally, I found it absolutely disgusting that for the past 4 months, the same place I've been using to wash my plate and cutlery has also been used by someone to brush their teeth. I had a go at my housemate explaining that this should not be happening, but they are confused as to why I'm making such a big deal out of it. They have now not spoken to me for a couple days, and it gets awkward if we're socializing as a house. Am I the a-hole? Comments say, is the toothpaste still there when you go to wash the dishes? Do you use soap to clean your dishes? Can people dump gross or old food in the sink? Sinks are made for things to be rinsed down them. I think you're making it a bigger deal than it actually is. Yata. Not the a-hole. Going against the grain here, but the kitchen sink and bathroom sink serve different purposes. Yes, cutlery has saliva on it, but it's not the same as actual toothpaste spit and mouth gunk. Now, is it? It's also about the wider implication of bodily fluids being around the kitchen space. I think it's fair and reasonable to expect the bathroom to be used for bodily stuff and for the kitchen to be used for food-related stuff. I know it's a very dumb argument. I'm sorry, that was the only Natar I could find that was actually valid in some way or form. Like the kitchen and bathroom sink serve different purposes. Honey, That is because we live in a privileged first world society. It's not because of any scientific reason other than, hey, you want a fancy house with 2 sinks? You can separate what you want to do with them. Like, I'm sorry, but it's a really unnecessarily picky argument. I get that you might find it disgusting, that someone is brushing their teeth on the kitchen sink, but look, you're uni students. You've got to save. You got to be frugal, not just in money, but also just in practice. Not everyone has mummy or daddy to pay for all their fancy things. Get off your high horse. You are the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my coworker my partner is not her child's father? I'm 29 male, my partner is 25 male, and my coworker is about 22 female. Now, my coworker, who I'll call Tiffany, is one of those likable but flaky people. She's nice, but she's a bit of an airhead. Tiffany got unexpectedly pregnant a year before we started working together, and the father is not involved. I know this because she tends to make vent posts on social media that are open to anyone who's following her. She posts a lot about issues with her kid because her kid has a disability. Now, my partner loves kids. He's a social worker, and he raised his siblings growing up. I think his ideal family would be the Brady Bunch. I don't want kids, so we compromised by getting a dog. He saw one of her posts about 3 years ago and DM'd her telling her that he's helped kids with her kid's disability, and he'd be happy to give her some advice. Since then, he's been very involved with her and the kid's life. Pre-quarantine, he would go over all the time and help out, and stay on the phone with her when she was having a crisis. I never had any problem with it because her kid has a lot of issues, and I know Tiffany was drowning in it. I also want to say I've never been jealous at all, because although my partner also likes women, he's bisexual, he's just like this. Anyway, during quarantine, the relationship has started to annoy me more. Tiffany and her kid will FaceTime my partner while we're watching a movie so he can tell the kid a bedtime story. He'll tell me that he misses seeing Tiffany and the kid because they're like family to him. When we finally went back to work yesterday, Tiffany told me how much her child misses my partner and how all the things he's been doing for them have been really getting them through the hard times. I agreed that what my partner was doing was nice, but then I told her that if her kid is missing him, the relationship is starting to get unhealthy. My partner is not your child's father, and he shouldn't be taking that place in their life. I told my partner, and he said I was being He said that the kid could only benefit from having a good male role model, and if the kid sees him as a father figure, there's nothing wrong with that. He also apologized to Tiffany. I don't really see where what I did was wrong. Creating boundaries is important. Am I the a-hole? Now on to the comments, where it seems most people are deciding to play psychologist on this guy's relationship more so than the actual issue. Yikes, this seems to be about way more than Tiffany and her kid. Your husband wants kids and you don't, so you compromise by getting a dog? If your husband wants kids, he's never going to stop wanting them, and it will probably lead to him resenting you. You guys aren't on the same page at all. Not the a-hole for wanting boundaries, but I have a feeling your relationship is going to fail. Your partner wants kids, and having a dog is not going to fix that. The fact that he so easily getting attached to someone else's kid is a sign that he's not going to be happy with a childless relationship for the rest of his life. It baffles me how couples can disagree on something as huge as having children and still think the relationship will work. If you want a stable relationship, you need to agree on 3 things: money, the kinky times, and kids. Now, while it isn't really on topic with what they are asking, I do agree with this point regarding the relationship. Realistically, the dog is just such a short-term fix. And I think if anything, letting your partner be around for this kid's life is actually a good way to kind of quell their needs for having a kid in their life. Like, you're helping your partner fulfill their need of, being a father figure, while at the same time not having any personal responsibility for the child yourself. Honestly, it seems like a win-win, provided you let those boundaries be further placed as to when is time for you and when is time free for him to be being a father for the child. I do like this rebuttal that someone makes to the Natar comment. Just jumping in to say, I don't think that's necessarily true. A lot of child-free people form affectionate bonds with other people's children, either relatives, friends, or, as in this case, kids in need of care that they're in a position to provide. it doesn't necessarily indicate dissatisfaction with their childlessness. Now, I'm gonna say Natara on this one purely because of why they're asking if they're the a-hole. Whether or not they're in the right relationship for themselves, that's a whole different matter. The fact is, I see it as the OP felt like they were losing time that they appreciated with their partner because this other person was pretty much leeching it away from them, and was merely trying to reinstate their boundaries. Honestly, the fact your partner was willingly answering their phone while you were trying to have a nice moment with them watching a movie to then just focus on the kid and giving them a bedtime story, no. That's disrespectful to the relationship, buddy. You can be a role model all you want. You can't do it at the cost of being a bad partner as well. So those are our stories today. What'd you think of that one? You think I'm on the right track there? I've been sipping on some little whiskey as I've been recording this one tonight. Just, it helps me cope with the stress of having to make YouTube content. I'm kidding, I'm not as bad as the older sister. It's not even whiskey, it's pineapple juice. Don't ask why I'm drinking it. If you made it this far into the video, you've clearly enjoyed your time here today. And hey, look, I enjoyed talking to you as well. You've been amazing to talk to. I genuinely appreciate you being here for me. So look, if you want to stick around for some more stuff in the future, why not subscribe so you're always updated on the next good stuff. Now, for those who are actually following me on Instagram or on the MK channel I work for as well, and you've noticed I've kind of pretty much disappeared from my own channel for some time. Basically, to summarize, I work at a resort that's kind of like a cruise ship on land, predominantly for families, and so during the school holidays where I live, my time can get pretty constrained. On top of that, moving house that was an hour and a half away, doing rehearsals for various shows that I do at the resort, keeping up as much content as I can for MK, and getting a prominent role in a certain movie that I can't legally tell you what it is. But hey, you know what? I really like Elvis Presley. He's a good singer. He's a good singer, tell you what. I'm just saying, he's a good singer. But thankfully, school holidays are over. Work is dead, aside from this online stuff. So my time is once again free for you. Sort of. I've got saxophone practice. I've got to try to get back into singing classes again. I've got to get back into dance practice. I've got a lot to do. Remember gym? I used to go to those. Anyway, enough rambling from me to extend this video's runtime. Honestly, thank you for your love and support, those who've been sending me comments and messages asking, what the hell have I been? I am sorry to leave you hanging. I'll try to be on top of things more now. But anyway, let's finish this video. You have a lovely rest of your day. My name's been Jack. I love your face, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.